Shalom Aleichem, meine liebe Freund. Ich heiße Mottel Didner und das ist 15 Minute Yiddish. Mehr weniger. Jede Woche bringen wir euch eine Mini-Lektie in Jiddisch Sprach und Kultur von dem nationalen Jiddisch-Theater Volksbühne. Welcome back to 15 Minute Yiddish. If you missed any of our past episodes, diminutive, you can watch them all online at nytf.org. Now that we've learned lots and lots of adjectives to describe nouns, we need to learn lots and lots of nouns. And what better place to find lots of nouns than in der Heim, at home. So much to explore. Where should we start? Why don't we start outside? That's a great place to start. If your home has a gate, that is der Teuer, plural die Teuren. The door is die Tier, plural die Tieren. A doorbell is das Tierglockel, literally doorbell, plural die Tierglocklech. Now the large sort of a mailbox that one finds on a street corner is der Postkasten, plural die Postkastens. But the small sort of mailbox that one would find outside a home is das Postkästel, plural die Postkästlech. And that brings up a topic worth discussing. We've seen the diminutive come up from time to time, but we haven't expressly discussed it before. In English, the diminutive is associated with the way that a child speaks. A cat is a kitty, a dog is a doggy, and we see it with names as well, Janie and Tommy and Billy, und also weiter. And to express diminutive size, we add an adjective, such as small or little or tiny. But in Yiddish, there is a catch-all to express both diminutive size and sentimentality. It comes in two levels, both of which are formed by taking the noun and adding a suffix. In the first level, we add an L, or a lamed. Lamoshel, for example, a licht, a candle, becomes a lichtel. Sometimes there's a vowel shift, and sometimes the final letter gets dropped, especially if it's an N or a Nun. We saw an example of this before. Kasten became kestel. And sometimes, with words ending in a Nun or an N, we insert a D or a Dalid. A tzon, a tooth, becomes a tseindel, a baby tooth. We see the diminutive with names as well. Take my name, for example. In Hebrew, it is Mordechai, but in the Ashkenazi pronunciation, it's Mordche, and in the diminutive, it becomes Motel. The name Miriam becomes Mirl. To form the second level, we add an E-L-E, or an ayin lamed ayin. Let's take a look at how these three levels work. A stub is a house, a stiebel is a little house, and the stiebele is a tiny house, or a childhood home that we long for. This works with names as well, Mordche, Motel, Motele, Miriam, Mirl, Mirele. Now if we've got a word that already ends in an L or a lamed, like epple, we skip straight to level 2, epele. And the plural for all diminutives is an EKH or an ayin chof. Epele in the singular, epelech in the plural. Kestele in the singular, kestelech in the plural. Gender is easy to remember in the diminutive because it's always neutral. Die Gas, das Gessel, das Gessele. Der Kopf, das Keppel, das Keppele. What about people? What about them? Well, do you become neutral because you're mo'el? No, that only applies to objects, and to animals too, I guess. Der Fisch, das Fischl. But people keep whatever gender they identify with. Where to next? How about the dining room? Sure, that would be der Esszimmer, literally the eating room. And here we find der Tisch, the table, plural, die Tischen. Now we can use the diminutive if we're talking about a small table, das Tischl, plural, die Tischlech. And Euphentisch we find der Tischtech, a tablecloth, plural, die Tischtecher. A plate is der Teller, plural, die Teller. And a bowl is die Schüssel, plural, die Schüsseln. Der Goppel is a fork, plural, die Gopplin. And a spoon is der Löffel, plural, die Löffel. We've seen this word before. Der Messer is a knife, die Messers in the plural. Die Servetke is a napkin, plural, die Servetkes. This is a combination of a French word with a Slavic diminutive ending of ke or ke. You'll see this sometimes as an alternative in Yiddish for the diminutive. For example, some people named Mottel go by Motke. We drink from die Glas, plural, die Gläser. But more commonly you will see the diminutive, das Gläsel, das Gläsele, plural, die Gläselech. If we want to make a l'chaim, we would drink from der Becher, plural, die Bechers. And a cup or a mug is das Teppele, which is diminutive for a pot, which we'll soon learn. Die Teppelech in the plural. Arum dem Tisch, we would sit on das Bänkel in the singular, die Bänklech in the plural, and this is diminutive for a bench, die Bank, plural, die Bank. The word bank, as in a financial institution, comes from the fact that early bankers would carry out their transactions on top of a bench, usually covered with a green cloth. A schönen Dank. Wohin? Lo mir gehen in der Kirch. Verwusst nicht. Ot seinen mir in der Kirch. And here we find der Eiskasten, literally the icebox, plural, die Eiskastens. This is alternately known as der Frigidaire, named after the brand, plural, die Frigidären. Der Oven refers to both the oven as well as the stove, plural, die Ovens. And an appliance is generically known as der Apparat, plural, die Apparaten. Der Obguss is specifically the kitchen sink, and it comes from the verb to pour out, plural, die Obgossen. Der Topf is a pot. Hey, that's pot spelled backwards. It sure is, and the plural is die Tepp. We already saw the diminutive Teppele for a cup or a mug. Die Pfanne is a pan, plural, die Pfannen. And all of these items, together with das Essen, the food, would go in die Schaffe, plural, die Schaffes, which means both cupboard, but more generically a closet in any room. Wohin? Oh, how about the bathroom? Scott! Nicht. That's a room in the house as well. Der Waschzimmer, literally the washroom. And here we have der Waschtisch, a bathroom sink. And this comes from the wash basins on a stand that people used to use back in the old days. Plural, die Waschtischen. Die Seife is soap, plural, die Seifen. Der Handtuch is a towel, plural, die Handtuches. A bathtub is die Wanne, plural, die Wannes. And der Spritz is a shower, plural, die Spritzen. And of course we have der Toilette, plural, die Toiletten. And that leads us into verb time. Not like that, Murray. Verb time. Today we're going to take a look at two verbs. The first is waschen, to wash. This is a regular verb. Let's take a look. Ich wasch. Du wascht. Sie, es wascht. Wir waschen. Ihr wascht. Sie waschen. Alle zusammen. Ich wasch. Du waschst. Sie, es wascht. Wir waschen. Ihr wascht. Sie waschen. Now, if we're talking about washing yourself, then you would add the reflexive sich. Waschen sich. If you want to be more specific as to what part of your body you're washing, simply add the noun. Ich wasch sich die Hand. If you're washing an object, then replace the sich with the name of the object. Ich wasch die Teller. The next verb we're going to take a look at is schlafen, to sleep. This is also a regular verb. Let's take a look. Ich schlaf. Du schlafst. Sie, es schlaft. Wir schlafen. Ihr schlaft. Sie schlafen. Alle zusammen. Ich schlaf. Du schlafst. Sie, es schlaft. Wir schlafen. Ihr schlaft. Sie schlafen. Sehr, sehr gut. Well then, what do you suppose we call the bedroom? You haven't told us the word for bed yet, darling, but since we eat in an Esszimmer and we wash in a Waschzimmer, I suppose we sleep in a Schlafzimmer. Sehr gut, Sophia. Men schläft in der Bett. Plural, die Betten. Auf der Bett is das Bettgewand, the bedding. Der Kissen is a pillow, plural, die Kischens. And a comforter or a blanket is die Koldre, plural, die Koldres. Die Kleider seien in der Schaffe, plural, die Schafes. We already saw this word from the kitchen. The clothes can also go in der Kommode. Hey, Mo, doesn't the commode go in the bedroom? In English, yes, but in Yiddish, der Kommode is in dem Schlafzimmer. The plural is die Kommoden. Und in dem Kommode is der Schuflad, plural, die Schufladen. Wohin? How about the study? Not everybody has a study, or der Kabinett, in their home, but there's a few items here worth mentioning. Der Schreibtisch is a desk, plural, die Schreibtischen. Die Politze is a shelf, plural, die Politzes. Die Bücher seien auf die Politzes. That just leaves der Wohnzimmer, the living room, and here we find die Sofa, plural, die Sofas. Der Teppich, a rug, plural, die Teppicher. And all throughout the house we'll find this item, a lamp. Der Lamp, plural, die Lampen. Der Keller is a cellar or a basement. Der Boydem is an attic. And here we find, well, let's just say it all together. Die Tschatschkes. Ich will etwas fragen. Yo, Marie? How do you say ceiling? I can't believe we got this far without you asking me that. It's one of those things, when you tell somebody that you speak Yiddish, they immediately ask you, how do you say ceiling? That's a thing. That's a thing. For was? Ich weiß nicht. No, how do you say it? Oh, the ceiling is die Stellje, plural, die Stelljes. We have a couple different words for floor. Die Podloge, plural, die Podloges. And you'll also hear der Dill, plural, die Dillen. Der Wand is a wall, plural, die Wand. My mother would say, Geh klappen Koppenwand, when we would complain that we were bored. Yes, that's a common expression. Mine would say,
Wir reden zu dem Wand.
when we weren't listening. Another good one. Mine would say,
Täub wie die Wand.
another chestnut. Der Fenster is the window, plural, die Fenster. And der Dach is a roof, plural, die Dächer. Hey, Fiddler auf'n Dach. Exactly. Is there anything else that anybody would like to know?
Oi, please, no more. So many new words. Es tut mir weh der Meuch.
Okay, we'll stop there for today. Join us next week for a mixed bag as we finish up a few topics that we've already begun. Derweil, seid gesund alle.